As much as we'd like to believe so much is for the creative process, the truth is that the business part of it is not. It's about money. It's about making money. It's about being successful making money. And with that comes the power to be able to make creative choices.
It comes down to the dollar, yeah.
A-list, whatever. The minute you stop doing that, you're back at the bottom, starting again and starting again.
What I wish someone had told me about the industry before I jumped in is blank.
How crazy everyone is. Big egos and personalities. I needed like 10 years of psychology before I entered it.
Okay, my friend. So before we wrap up, we always like to play a little game on the show.
Okay.
If you're up for it.
Okay.
All right, my friend. This game is a fill in the blank game, and it's called Say It Without Saying It. So basically, we're going to play a fill in the blank game. It's a quick fire round, and just no overthinking. Just say what comes to mind.
Okay.
Okay. The moment I realized adulthood is nothing like what I had imagined at USC was blank.
When I was working like my first job at Sony Pictures in a crappy office and working crazy hours for no money, I was like, wow, this is not USC.
Yeah. This is not the Theta House.
No.
Okay. The part of my marriage I never talk about publicly, but matters the most is blank.
I guess I would say the quiet conversations, like I think the intimate conversations, the ones that are the glue between people that we never know, right? Only the two people know. So yeah, I treasure those.
Yeah, that is the glue. You're right. The thing motherhood forced me to grow out of was blank.
Holding a grudge.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, holding a grudge about something, carrying it on, just learning to forgive quickly and move on. And not that even, and I don't mean forgive because you're not like, as an adult, I'm not like angry at the kid, but like, let's say, for an example, I had a friend recently. They took their kid to something. The kid was misbehaving. They had to leave the event. And the parent was really resentful that the kid made them leave the event. So in parenting, all these kinds of things happen and you can hold that in. You can hold in a feeling like I don't have a life. I'm resentful of my kid that they don't know how to, all these things. And I think like letting that go, not holding on to things any longer than they need to be, just really like finding a solution and moving forward positively.
Yeah, you really have to learn how to move through things quickly.
Yeah, I think I was more like, I was definitely a grudge person. I'm a Taurus. I was an only child. Like, I definitely think I was someone that could hold on to it for a while and stew in it and marinate in it. And I just remember just having a moment where it was like, you can't do that anymore. Like you have to be the example of it's forgiven. And that really means it's forgiven, which means move on. No grudges.
Yes. No grudges. It's life lessons,
Yeah.
Okay. A truth about friendship I only learned in midlife is blank.
Love your friend. To love a friend means giving them the space to make their decisions the way they want to make them. So letting your friend move through what they need to move through in the way that they need to go through it. And you can still love them through it without judging them, without stepping in to give them advice if they don't want to hear it.
And not necessarily on your timeline, right? Like letting them take their time or...
Timeline is a big one. Yes. Like you can love someone and sort of see that they've made a shitstorm of something and they're going to figure it out. And if they ask you for advice, then you can say, this is my experience and how I would do it. But I really don't think that, I think everyone has to find their path. And so even if they're doing it in a way that you wouldn't do it, you don't have to necessarily be like, ringing the bell going, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? I think it's more like, hey, like have a conversation about it. But I also have found that sometimes being a good friend means just listening and loving them and letting them work through it on their timeline.
Good point. Like a lot like kids, you listen to
Yeah.
them and let them work through it sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, the role I took for the paycheck, but ended up changing me was blank.
Trying to think about my last paycheck, but ended up changing me.
Were there some that you almost didn't take, but that you took and you were glad you took?
I the most recent is Lincoln Lawyer, but again, it's not a paycheck thing. But I definitely for a moment, just because I'm working on Real Life Co, was sort of like, do I do this? And I'm taking this other thing on. But I had such a great time because the people involved in it are they just are such pros. And there were so many great women on the show, as well as the lead, Manuel. And I just like love the producers. So through the process of that, that was more than I anticipated it would be.
That's always a nice feeling, huh?
So that was a really nice feeling. Yeah. I would say that's the most recent thing that felt to me like I got something like more out of it.
The quiet fear I had about starting a company at this stage in my life was blank.
The time commitment, you
Mm,
know, the time commitment and just potentially the stress of that, not having time for other things in my life, which has happened. I don't have as much time for some friends. I don't have as much time for like I really have to schedule myself. I have to say no to a lot of things. That's been the toughest.
yeah, no, it's true. You really have to become a time management, aficionado. Um, what I wish someone had told me about the industry before I jumped in is blank.
How crazy everyone is.
Yeah.
that it's that
Oh
like
yeah.
I needed like 10 years of psychology before I entered it. That you're going to be like literally in a complete minefield of
Yeah.
big egos and personalities and managing, your own and everybody else's around you. Like if you're an empathic person, a lot of creative people are, and sensitive, you're surrounded by so many people, and how to manage all that energy and stay uh, focused and in alignment with your values in the midst of it. The other big one I'll say is that, as much as we'd like to believe so much is for the creative process, the truth is that the business part of it is not. It's about money. It's about making money. It's about being successful making money. And with that comes the power to be able to make creative choices. But truthfully, that's like such a huge piece of it that that's the hardest part to navigate.
Yeah. It comes down to the dollar. Yeah.
Yeah, it really, really does. And once that's sort of not a piece of it, you don't anybody, no matter if you were, A list, whatever, the minute you stop doing that, you're back at the bottom, starting again and starting again. I guess I always just thought like if you reach a certain level, that you would always continue to build on that level, but it's always up and down. And that's brutal, just brutal.
It is. It is. Um, one thing people get completely wrong about me is blank.
That I'm as like I don't want to say. I think that I'm more like I'm a Taurus with a Sagittarius rising. So I have like parts that are completely kooky. Like Eduardo always says to me that I'm like such a funny person because he's just like you are like such a goofball. So like I think that I'm more eccentric than people think that I am. I think I'm have more of a like a put together like I am a very like rational grounded person, but then I also am like a bit like I like to be in the stars. I like to like I'm not OCD. Like I do not want things to be perfectly ordered. I like to be able to have spontaneity. I like to be able to have like a freshness to my day, to my life. So I'm not as organized as I think people think I am. I am not.
You do come across as organized.
I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not. I'm not, but I'm not compared to people that I know or what people think. They think that like I'm really super organized about it. I'm like, no, I'm really not. honestly just did this 5 minutes ago. Like when I have to do it, I get it done. I was like the person who took the test at the last studied the last possible moment. It stayed in here. I was able to get through it, but I was not a person that planned on things as much as I may appear to.
Interesting. Okay. Because you definitely come across as like organized. And for as long as I've known you, I mean, I feel like you always came across as organized, but
I'm really, really
interesting.
not. I know. And I think that that's like a strange, like unexpected, like I'm not.
I like that. I like that little spontaneity, side of you, Sash. Okay. If there's one thing I refuse to apologize for in this midlife chapter, it's
My honesty.
that's a good one. That's a good one. Why shouldn't you be?
Because not everybody wants to hear it. People don't always want the truth. They mostly don't. So, yeah. So I would say my honesty, I'm not going to apologize for. I may not give it to you if you don't want it, but I'm not going to apologize for it if I do.
Yes. The older I get, the less I have patience for blank.
It's probably, I mean, I have an issue at restaurants when like it's a problem when food like takes too long. Like I waitressed, and so I feel like I'm becoming one of those people who is just like, yeah, they didn't handle this right. They didn't take the order right. They could have done that. They could have done that. It's not cool. Like it's like just let them go. But for some reason, I micromanage that, and also driving. If I'm not driving, I've become a little bit like impatient about like what roads to take and what back channels to take. Like I just that those two things are not good.
You know, being a waiter or a waitress is probably one of the best jobs you can have
I loved
to
it. Yeah,
prepare you for life,
I loved
right?
it. I loved it. I really did.
What restaurant?
A couple Italian restaurants, good Italian restaurants in LA. I loved it. I loved it. I learned so much. I think everyone should be a waiter. I really do. You learn about people. It's fun to feed people. Like you learn tradition and routine. Like there's so much you have to organize. You have to get it done quickly. Cleanliness. There's so much. I think it's great. But now I'm super judgy about bad waiters.
Yeah, because girl, you're like, no, this is not going to fly.
I'm like, come on, we gotta go. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm
Exactly.
hungry. I'm hungry, and I'm getting hungry.
I
I
know.
don't want to like be like not have it be good.
I know. Once we've reached the
Yeah,
hangry
the
point, there's
hanger
just no
point.
turning back.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah.
Everybody out there, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and comment on your favorite podcast app so we can chat, have more of these fun chats.
You're so sweet. Well, I love you. Thank you for doing this. Super fun. Super fun. Always love to see you.